Hello, my name is Patrick Webb, and in this video we're going to break down the production process of how to produce a podcast. In particular, a podcast called All Things Fantastic and a Cup of Coffee that I produced for Jacobsen Coffee Roasters here in Trondheim. I'm going to go over the processes from conceptualizing, communicating, preparation, production, editing, feedback, and eventually the release. So let's dive in. I'm going to start from conceptualization here because it's very important. So the inspiration I had for the coffee shop was to create a podcast, and the owner of Jacobsen, Tony Jacobsen, is, let's say, he's a very charismatic man, and he has such deep connections with people through his philosophical ideas and also his artisans as a coffee roaster. And he's widely connected and respected with a lot of people, and I thought it would be such a lovely idea to go in and pitch the idea to create a podcast, All Things Fantastic and a Cup of Coffee. We had some brainstorming sessions. I was received very well with the idea, and it was something that Tony really wanted to explore with me in this one. So we sat down and thought, okay, what are we going to do here for this? So I had inspirations here, and I will show this on the get-go. So there's actual setups here that I got from other existing podcasts, and one from professional crews who do these really high-end podcasts. They look great, very cinematic, and you've got a lot of angles on some of these particular ones that I'm looking at here. For example, here I think it's with Matthew McConaughey. The lighting setup is beautiful. Like I said, it's very cinematic. It's very rustic in their location. It doesn't look like a high-end studio. It looks like it's in a barn. They rigged it up, and it looks pretty cool. And that was the basis of my inspiration, because it kind of matched that concept for what I was going for in the coffee shop. Another inspiration is Doak. I'm just showing some behind the scenes stuff that I got from their YouTube page. They shared some screenshots there, and I grabbed those shots to get a bit of a better understanding of how it looks from behind the scenes. And this is more of a studio setup. So Tony wrapped his head around that one and understood that pretty well. Next thing was of course the location. Architect's Hus in Trondheim. It's very rustic. It's got that brick and bare metal, just really, really nice style for this particular aesthetic that we were going for. I had some other ideas, but don't need to get into it so much there. Then there was my kind of internal dialogue, and also letting Tony know this is what we need to think about, is like, what do we need to be able to produce this? Well, you need cameras, you need microphones, you need lights, you need the whole package. It's essentially a studio, and I didn't really want to skimp on quality, but I also don't have access to everything that I need from my own kit. And then when I went through the list of what I needed for this podcast, I needed 3 to 4 angles, because I had an idea that the producer would also have a camera on him, who's sitting at the producer's desk, which happened to be me on the day, and 3 cameras, so 2 portraits and then a wide of both host and the guest. And then I went a little bit deeper and had a look at things such as clothing, how it's going to look aesthetically, but that was negligible in this one because, we'll basically sponsoring this one ourselves. So a little bit about the actual process itself here. Tony and I spent a lot of time, back and forward conversations on the phone. I think we must have spoke at least 10 to 12 hours on the telephone. Maybe that's a bit much. So let's say about 8 to 10 hours on the telephone, just philosophizing and bouncing ideas back and forward with this one, because it is important that you're both on the same page when creating something like this, and we resonate really well. Our personalities match, so that was really good, that kind of chemistry to get this flowing. So there was months and months in between. So it was last year. So I think it must have been in October, November, maybe even a little bit earlier, when we started conceptualizing this stuff and talking about it. I wanted to, do it earlier, so did he, but sometimes life just doesn't allow you to get what you want sometimes, and a lot of things put us on the back burner, delay after delay after delay, until we got it done in April. So April this year, so 2025. So from September, October 2024, right till now in April 2025. It takes time to produce these things. I'll also show on the screen here too that I've got some plans that I had drawn up just to help lift up the conceptualization of how this would go, and also just to show it to the guest and Tony how it would need to be set up and what we would need for that. I think that's pretty much it for the conceptualization and planning of it all. So now I would say let's jump into the pre-production. So this is the fun part. First things first is we're just looking at the production schedule here. So on the 18th of April, that was when we decided that we were going to film the podcast, which happened to be on the Good Friday, which was on the Easter weekend. So this list here is just organizing everything, detailing the equipment that was used, or that needs to be used, shooting schedule, and so on. Then we'll get into the gear list. Here I like to make sure all of this is clear as day, because in this particular one I was borrowing from my inventory, as also Håkon, which was the guest there, which is also a friend of ours. He was there to generously donate his equipment, which were 2 other cameras, some microphones, and some other lights there, which was very helpful in the end. So big shout out to Håkon. Thank you, mate. Then there is what else have I got here? The breakdown sheet. So just other things that we need. Do we need props? What do we need to... So I needed some extra stands. I need some extra grip equipment in this one, because we're going to hang down the little neon light, which you'll see in the examples towards the end of this video. So pre-production comes more to an end when we have more or less gotten in the bag, secured all of the equipment. Everybody is booked in for the day. Everybody knows what time, where to go, or if they're getting picked up, which both of them were by me, and what's going on. Is everything clear? And that's basically the most important thing that you need to declare, and that everybody else agrees, and then you're good to go. So all you've got to do is wait for production day. And that leads us on to production day. So production day, I will just start off with on the road. It started off at 5 o'clock for me in the morning, 6 o'clock, just making sure that my day is all started. I'm fed, I'm good to go, I'm prepared, I've got some food and drink to take with. It's very important on production day that you've got enough water and some food, because, oh boy, what a drag it can be if you don't have those things. This particular morning was magical as I was driving over the back way from my house to go pick up Tony. I drove through this beautiful water lake reserve area, and as you see here, some cloudy magic that was going on. Let's have a look at the actual setting up. So I didn't get really much video stuff or photos of the actual setting up part. I've got some bits of where I just brought photos of just where I brought the stuff in. but nothing comprehensive. So I'll just go through a couple of pictures here of the setup itself, so behind the scenes of what the producer myself is looking at. Yeah, so I'll kind of break down the setup here. So from the actual conceptualized plan to how it was set up. Fortunately for me, I have some production equipment like lights and all that kind of stuff, so it makes it easy for me. And also, it was a cost on my back and Tony's back in all of this. So what I supplied for the day for this shoot was the Kino flows that you see at the back of the talents here. So that's kind of like upstage lighting to get a nice rim light and some backlight on both the talents, just to let them pop out of the background. Everything was set to daylight balance, as you can probably understand here. I've got a very dodgy set up here for hanging the Jacobsen and Smedstad logo there. That's actually pretty funny. I had two boom poles for microphones. I kind of shoved one in one end and clamped both sides of it to some stands and put bricks. A very shitty rig set up there, but kind of fun. Made it happen, and that's the whole point of this, is seeing what we can do to make it work. Then I've got here too also Forza 500 with a big dome softbox, and that is just for some of that nice fill, that studio fill. The other small light that I've got here, which you can see on the producer's desk where my laptop is, this is illuminating me. And on this table that you see kind of here in the center of the photo, I had the Fuji set up there pointing at me, because I was every now and then going to ask questions or help lead on the podcast. Yeah, so I'll just go through some pictures here and also go through some of the videos of the setup and just a little bit of the walkthrough. So we'll go through that now. So the production went really well. As you can see here, I'm going to share some of the angles. So we've got camera A, which is the wide shot, camera B, which is the shot on Håkon, and camera C, which is the shot on Tony. Now the pictures, they don't all match up because it was a bit of a Frankenstein setup. Camera A was Ursa Mini 4.6K with the PL mount, so Håkon didn't actually have any PL lenses, and luckily I had a 28mm PL Lomo mount, which turned out to deliver quite a surprisingly nice and sharp image. Camera B was the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K, Super 35, not full frame version, and we put a Carl Zeiss 50mm f1.4, and I think it was set to like f2.8 or maybe f4. And then the same lens on the Red Raven for camera C, which was on Tony. Now you can kind of tell the difference in the camera sensors and just the pictures that they give off. Even though the Pocket 6K and the Raven, Red Raven, both had the same lenses on it, just gave different looking pictures. Now it wasn't a problem when it came to the edit. They cut really well together. However, those who know when you are dealing with different sensors, it's just how the cameras process the images. And I noticed that a lot, particularly with the red image opposed to the Blackmagic image. They're just different. They give off good images, but my personal preference is I lean into the red. For some reason, I feel like I get such better details, particularly with skin and stuff like this. So that was just a small little afterthought when I got into the editing. So that is kind of that natural flow of where we're going to now. So let's get into the actual edit of the podcast. Gonna have a little sip of coffee. I'm going to take this opportunity to big up Tony and his coffee products. Today I'm drinking a Jacobsen and Svart light roast Mauricio Escalon collection, and this is an El Salvadorian bean. This is a really nice one. I've actually just finished off this packet, so I need to go get some more. But damn, I don't think I ever had a light roast before I tasted some of this Norwegian light roast that Tony makes here. It's damn good. I'm not just saying it. So let's get into the whole editing of this podcast and some of the hurdles that I went through. Now, naturally, when you're recording internally into 3 cameras and you don't actually have a production switcher, it makes things in the edit a lot more tedious. Yeah, so when I got into the edit, the process was just tedious because I didn't actually have the set up that I normally use, which is like an ATEM switcher from Blackmagic, hooked up to a monitor, and I can see my cameras, and then I can switch between the cameras live and make a live edit. Instead, with this process, and this is where a lot of beginners may come from in this respect, it is very time consuming having to go manually in DaVinci or whatever editing program you're using, and having those 3 layers or 4 layers or 5 layers in this one, and having to intercut between all of them, because it's just a time consuming nightmare. I think it took me on and off with small breaks here and there and some kind of frustrating walks outside and getting fresh air. I managed to clip the first session in one day. So I was pretty chuffed with myself. So camera A, which is the Ursa, I'll put up some of these angles here. Just when you got that studio lighting and everything like that, then you can't really go wrong. Camera B, I just want to make a comment on this one because the actual composition itself is nice, because we had this arch in the background there which kind of framed Håkon nicely. And of course it was windows straight to the outside, so we had some daylight sun that was blasting in and intermittently going lower. It was just adding a nice little bit of dynamic there. And you'll see the difference now that the shot is on Tony. Just it's not a huge difference, but I notice it with my eye. If I was to be picky, I would just choose the same cameras, or at least the same sensor types next time to make sure this is a proper type production. But in this particular one, everything looks really good. Tony looks good, Håkon looks good. Then there's the camera angle of me, which I'm looking at right now. This one's very contrasty, but yeah, I'm not really starring in this at all, so it's got nothing to do with me. Then I had another camera, which was the Osmo, which is a little handheld gimbal camera, which I used for the introduction, and every now and then I got up and sniped off some shots here and there, little dynamic walkthroughs, just to break up the monotony and the stillness of the static shots.
Welcome to All Things Fantastic and a Cup of Coffee. This is a podcast where we celebrate all things fantastic over a cup of coffee. Inspired by the idea of the historic Penn universities, just like the 17th century coffee houses, our podcast is a vibrant space for sharing knowledge, fun, and lively conversations. Here, every cup of coffee is an invitation to explore ideas, spark curiosity, and connect through stories and discoveries. Join us as we brew thoughtful discussions and bring the spirit of intellectual exchange alive, one cup at a time. Yeah.
Yep, we did it.
We did it. That was not bad. Like that, and we compose music by that. So you can access a lot of stuff with that internal monologue, I think. And that's basically what will, after a while, it becomes a part of you because you've been doing it so long, so you don't know how to do it without.
Okay. Becomes habitual, kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. But I do a lot of weird stuff to keep myself.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm insane or if I'm sane. I don't know where the limit is anymore. So when you talk about those sort of like, you know, you have this aspect where you were sharing about, like when you go into the, you know, a personality that you don't want to be, you don't want to see, you don't want to be a part of it. I learned that from, in my earlier days, I studied child and youth care. I wanted to study psychology. So I read about Jung and some alternative psychology, and then I also got the scholar.
Yeah, I'll just go over some of my afterthoughts after the production was finished. It was really important to have that immediate feedback session between Tony, Håkon and myself, just to go, hey, how do we feel about this thing that we've just done here? And Tony said that it was his first time of doing this host kind of stuff, and he said it was like a crazy experience for him, which I understand. It's a crazy job, and you know, to be good hosts you have to be prepared, and that's something that Tony reflected upon and now really understands. And you know what, that's good that we were able to have that conversation between all of us and see what we could improve and what could be done to get a better, tighter production for the next one. That's what it's all about. It's about having a look at what you can improve on, and we can always improve on certain things, and things always happen. That just goes to put a lot more weight on being prepared in the event of a production like this, because you've got to kind of know where you're leading the conversation, what you're talking about, etc. So for me, my particular perspective on this, I've done these productions before, and I'm always learning and improving and trying new things. Of course, with this particular production, I was very limited on the hardware, but I still managed to make it happen. It was labor intensive, took a whole day for the editing, which is okay, but you know what? We've got tools these days to make these things go a lot faster. So I think by the next one, I'll have that in front of me next time, so I can do a live edit and fix it up in post-production, and that would just make everything run a lot smoother for future productions. But I am looking forward for the up-and-coming productions, these podcasts, any other of these productions in the future. And it was just really exciting to get into this one, particularly in this field where I'm really interested in philosophy and going deeper in knowledge and other things, and exploring and having that good communication. I think it's a real honor to be in a situation like that. So I thank Tony, I thank Håkon, and I also thank myself because there is just so much to learn and so much to experience with these kind of things. So this is really awesome that we were able to lift this pilot off the ground and get ready for a good season of new guests and see how Tony develops in all of this. So it's going to be a really, really, really fun one, I think. That being said, I will sign off this one with, for those who don't know who I am, my name is Patrick Webb. I'm a cinematographer, but I also wear many other production hats, as you can see here. So I'm dipping my toes more into this YouTube content stuff or online content stuff here, because I feel like it is good to share and communicate, and I can get feedback and start to expand my community. So if you liked this video today, consider subscribing, drop a comment, get in contact with me, and then see what I can produce and what I can share that you guys would enjoy watching as well. So that's enough from me today. Thanks for watching, and I will throw a little outro on this one. Cheers, guys.